Welcome back to Heart of the Lakes Outdoors. I'm Greg Ressler with Mike Evevold. We're at Dalton Outdoors. Today, we're talking about
some archery, bow hunting, and some bow products, and we just happened to have one of a nice day, so we decided to move it outside today. So I don't think we got too many of these left. I think it's fall season's in the air. Deer hunting's starting to come around. Bow hunting's already up and running, and we figured we might talk about some bows and keeping your bows tuned up and ready to go so that you can do ethical kills and make sure that when you do release and shoot at a deer, you've got that great possibility of getting them.
Kind of a slick unit you've got here to put this bow up on to work on the bow, actually.
It's a great deal, and we just got into bow working about 2 years ago. And this is my own bow. We just set it up, and you can tell it's brand new. We sell Parkers down here, and we sell Renegade bows, which are Ted Nugent's bows. So we got both styles of bows here. I just happen to feel that the Phoenix fits me a little better. It's a Phoenix Parker bow. It's a 34-inch double cam bow, and it's very fast. It's 34 inches from cam to cam. As you can see, it's small, but it's very fast. And then you accessorize it up to what you feel that you need, and for the best product that you can put on there for the money.
How does an individual know whether a bow fits them or not?
The biggest thing is if you don't know, make sure you come to a shop that can help you out. Basically, you want to know on the draw length. This is a 29-inch draw length, and this is what fits me. I shoot a trigger release, and if I were shooting finger releases, I'd need about an inch more. When you pull it back every time, this bow should hit you in the same spot. The string for me, I knock it right to the corner of my cheek with my trigger, and I know that's where it is every time. And that's the key when you're using sights. It's just like on a gun. When you bring a gun up, you have to bring that gun up every time when you're doing the open sights, so that you make sure your sight line is in proper position for you.
What pound do you usually set it at? Does it depend upon what your target is?
Yeah, for myself, I usually set mine between 63, 65 pounds. I know at that range, I got great penetration with the deer. Basically, it's the same as guns. It's shot placement. It's not so much as how much pounds you're shooting or what caliber you're shooting, or what bow you're shooting. It's shot placement, and I know that if I hit a bone or I hit something, I can punch it with my bow up that high.
Okay. What's one of the primary things you wanted to show us here?
Biggest thing with these is how you're going to shoot your bow, and a lot of guys now have switched to triggers, and there's different trigger releases. I use this one, and the reason I use this one is it slips all the way around my hand, and I'm actually pulling with my wrist instead of pulling with my fingers. I pull with my wrist, and you get a lot more strength in your wrist than you do in your fingers. And that's why a lot of people have switched over to this. And this shoots just like a gun. When you squeeze this trigger, the arrow goes. And that's why on these you're starting to see people too, they start putting strings on, or they've got metal clips on there, and you don't wreck your string by putting your releases. This is metal, and it'll always cut. So you put your trigger in there, and I'm actually pulling on a string separate than the bowstring. It saves on the string. It saves, you don't have the knocks on there, the metal clips with the rubber on them.
Right.
You're not pinching those on there. This gives you a lot more accuracy. Plus, you're pulling from behind the arrow instead of from below the arrow. So you're getting a truer shot.
Can you set these up with different sensitivities too?
As far as the triggers?
Yes.
We never do. We never worry about that because you do squeeze them. There is some guys that'll play with them. Okay. But it's kind of like play at your own risk.
Sure.
I don't recommend it. If I ever do it, I give it to the gunsmith. That's his area of expertise. But there's a lot of other ones. These are also wrist ones, but these have a regular band that fit around your wrist, and for me that cuts in more. This one's got me actually a palm thing that I can grab onto, and it feels good for me. That's not to say it's the best one. It's the best one for me. But a lot of guys shoot these. A lot of guys shoot ones that just fit in your hand. It just matters how it feels for you and how you shoot. It's just like a gun. It's like getting back to everything there is. Everything fits people just a little bit different. The next thing you want to look at on these things, arrow rests are not that big of a deal for arrow rests. Pick the one that's good. This just happens to be a real nice rest. This is a quick tone, and the quick tune is nice for me. It adjusts well, and we're all set to go with this one. As you can see on my front of my thing is my sights. These are quick set sights. I can actually move my sights up and down by flipping two levers, and I can move them. It's also got a level in the front so that you know you're holding your bow level and you're not cantilevering it or moving it around. Also on these, I have the limb saver vibrators. This actually takes the vibration out of your beams. So when you let your arrow go, you don't hear that twang or you hear a vibration coming off your beams. They also have these little silencer, string silencers, is it takes a twang out of your strings. There's no twang when you release that thing. You don't hear a twang from the strings when you have silencers on there.
Less vibration altogether as well.
Right, and you want to make that bow as quiet as you can. So basically what you want to do is set it up and go that way. Then when you get going, there's also different arrows you can shoot. I happen to shoot carbon arrows. Carbon arrows are a little more forgiving. I can stick these, and they got a lot more strength than aluminum. Some people are still stuck on the aluminums, and aluminums are a great arrow. Then you get into your practice tips, what grain you want to shoot, 100 grain, 125. Depends on what you like. I shoot 100 grain myself.
What is your preference with the 100 grain?
It's heavy enough that it gives me downrange energy.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with shooting like a 180 grain to a 150 grain. I just like the energy downfield. And I've had the speed with my bow, so I have that intact.
So it comes down to personal feel, personal
Exactly.
preference.
Yep, and it depends on what you're hunting. I mean, if you're going out antelope hunting and you've got to shoot a little more distance, I've sat here on the deck and I've shot down to my berm, which is 100 yards, and I can hit a pie plate if I've got my pin set right, and of course, not in a windy day like today.
That's probably one of the nice things about Dalton Outdoors is you do get to test the equipment here. You've got plenty of opportunity, plenty of area here to go out and try out the product and see if it does work or fit you the way you want it to.
We try to balance everything to everybody, and we had the same thing this weekend with a guy with a gun, and I said, you know, he was trying to decide between a Beretta and a Benelli, and I said, do me a favor, pick them up. Pull it up just like you're going to shoot, and let me see you do it. Well, when he did that, the Beretta just didn't fit him. So I told him, I said, I'm going to tell you, you can buy the Beretta, but it don't fit you. And you're going to go home, and you're not going to be happy with that shotgun, and you're going to say that I sold it to you. Well, I did sell it to you, but I am recommending to you, don't buy that gun because it doesn't fit you. And that's the same thing I'll tell you with the bows. If you can't pull a 60-pound bow back, don't buy that 60-pound bow. Let's get you to something better.
Absolutely, and that is the key. When you're out in the field and the target comes into sight, you want to make doggone sure that everything is as it should be.
Yeah. And you can even see watching some of these hunting shows, you see these guys struggling to get their bows back. That's not bow hunting. You don't want to be doing that. You want to have a smooth, nice, even draw. And this is set up, we've got them for women, we've got them for kids. It's a great program. It's a fun family event. Get everybody out there. And like I said, archery hunting it requires a lot of patience. You get to see a lot of animals because you're not, with a rifle, you see them, you can shoot them. With a bow, you want to bring them in, and especially for people that are just starting out, 20 yards is the maximum distance I want you shooting.
And that's a great recommendation right there. That is one of the things that you should take into consideration is, you know, distance. Make sure they're there, that you're not putting too much on yourself or your bow. Right,
and it takes a lot, and I mean there's so many variations out there. You've got wind, you've got dew and stuff like that, and judging distance is the hardest thing a person can do. I've actually told people, listen, go out there and make yourself an orange stick, a green stick, and coordinate that with your pin, so when you're sitting in the stand, you can see how far that is, and practice from your stand as well as practicing at home.
That's great advice. All right. Once again, we've covered the bow hunting aspect of things for this session of Heart of the Lakes Outdoors. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Greg Ressler with Mike Evavold from Dalton Outdoors. This is Heart of the Lakes Outdoors.